Having fought every creature in Baldur's Gate 3, I've long since wondered how certain enemies would do in a fight against one another, and thanks to the new Mod Toolkit, we can make that a reality. Within the editor, I've made 3 custom-built arena maps, and assembled 8 unique arena teams to battle in a fully AI-controlled tournament. The winners will earn the title of the strongest NPCs in Baldur's Gate 3, who will become the champion. Starting things off, we have Gortash and his Steelwatch Titan facing off against the Beast Menagerie. Gortash takes initiative in the fight by tossing an explosive directly into the crowd, claiming 8 of these wild animals' lives before they got a chance to do anything. These beasts may have the numbers on their side, but they have absolutely zero range capabilities. They started things off by circling around the robot, who was able to cleave down several enemies at once. And luckily for the beasts, Gortash didn't seem to know what the hell he's doing in this scenario. He took several opportunity attacks in a row, randomly running around the battlefield like a headless chicken. Gortash was being ripped to shreds, but the near untouched Titan was dominating. These robots' sword kept cleaving multiple enemies down at once, while the beasts had to compete with each other just to be in range for their attacks. For several rounds in a row, Gortash had honestly done nothing, and I questioned his decision making to take 5 opportunity attacks in a row. But apparently he did it to cast the Chains of Tyranny on every single beast. Not only would this destroy my FPS, but if he maintains concentration of the spell, this could eliminate nearly all of these beasts. However, that dream would be short-lived, as a heroic ox saved the day. Bodies were starting to pile up around the Titan, but Gortash was already nearly finished. He summoned a final fist of Bane, punched the bear directly in the face, before being whipped to death. This left the 75% HP Titan alone to fight off against roughly 30 beasts. The outcome of the battle appeared obvious, until the Titan used its Bulwark protocol. This attack is a massive AoE knockback, which hits everything nearby, blocks up to 75 damage, and heals it all for a single action. This pretty much skipped every beast's turn, as they would need to all dash back into melee range, and the next turn the Titan just repeated the move. In those 2 rounds of combat, the Titan had finished off about half of its enemies, but then stupidly switched back to swinging its sword. The real issue for these beasts is that their hardest hitter, the Bullete, has done nothing but self-heal the entire battle. And the other beasts, well, their damage kinda sucks. After they finally dropped the robot to 50%, it reused the Bulwark protocol once more. The Titan was somehow actually doing it. After slaying an owlbear though, the Titan chose to focus solely on the Bullete. Perhaps being hit on the head knocked some sense into the dinosaur, as the Bullete finally chose to attack. These beasts were now in a DPS race against the Titan. The Bullete chose to heal, took another hit, then dealt one more itself. With that blow though, the Titan had reached a low enough threshold where it chose to activate its detonation protocol. The Titan's explosion dealt 83 damage to both targets, killing the spider. But thanks to that very last heal, the Bullete had survived, securing victory with just 34 health. In a miracle showing, the Beast Menagerie defeated Gortash's team, and will be the first to move on to the second round. Our second match of the day has the Elth Empire, led by the Emperor and Mind Flayer Orpheus, up against the Undead Coalition, with Ketheric, Cazador, and the Mystic Carrion being their strongest members. Before beginning match 2, I'll just quickly point out that I am not a professional modder, and some of these NPCs unexplainably acted very strange. Cazador, for example, was a complete weirdo who focused nearly exclusively on biting his enemies to deal damage. Ketheric appeared to be mostly normal at least, and he summoned additional skeletons while terrifying his opponents. Mind Flayer Orpheus for the Illithids black-holed the entire undead team, dropping them to just 6 members very early on into the fight, while the Emperor stunned another 2. The Mystic Carrion's Cloud Kill ability dropped all the brain casts instantly, slightly evening the odds, while the Illithid's countermeasure blackened the battlefield with arrows of darkness. Ketheric was landing some big smites, but with still 4 Illithids up against just 3 undead bosses, it was unlikely they'd bring it back. The Mind Flayers were showcasing their superior intelligence by maintaining a range against their melee attackers. And a bit like an annoying friend in Street Fighter, Orpheus would spam the same move every single turn, finishing first the Mystic Carrion and then Ketheric. Cazador was left all alone, but he would quickly eliminate both the Emperor and the random Mind Flayer ally to bring it to a 1 vs 2 scenario. For no conceivable reason, Orpheus then chose to move directly into bite range, dropping down to just 8 HP. After nearly throwing the fight, this Mind Flayer then abused a cheesy black hole knockdown combo to fully skip Cazador's turn 3 times in a row, and thanks to this technique, the Illithids would move on to the second round. Our third matchup has Hell's Army, led by Yurgr, taking on Voss's Githyanki soldiers. Yurgr starts things off this time with a massive thunder wave, a pointless bomb volley, and some cheeky invisibility. The Githyanki respond by using his own bombs against the army from Hell, followed by Voss slicing his way through multiple imps. The Cambionite spawned in for Hell is apparently unarmed, so he was little more than a damaged sponge, but still still managed to earn a kill. While Jurger's bombs were certainly not helping Hell's side, his assassination tactics were, as he'd repeatedly pick off a target then retreat to the shadows. In a straight up fight, these Gith are clearly superior, and the battle quickly evolved into Jurger versus 4 Githyanki soldiers. He'd find another kill as they struggled to break his invisibility. The Githyanki can reveal him if Jurger fails the roll, but luck appeared to be on the demon's side. He maintained his invisibility to secure one more kill, bringing it to a 1 versus 1 between Jurger and Voss. For the 3rd turn in a row, Jurger saved against the detection, bringing the Gith to just 30 life. 4th time appears to be the charm, as finally Voss broke the invisibility, immediately dropping Jurger down to half health. However, this time it would be too late, as Jurger finished him off with an explosive blast to secure victory for Team Hell. And thanks to Jurger's lone effort, they'll be moving on to face the Beast Menagerie in the 2nd round. The final battle of round 1 is Baal's Cultists, led by Orin and Sarevok, against a solo Ansur the Dragon. Turn 1, Sarevok intelligently baited out the Lightning Breath reaction, and the Cultists spread out around Ansur. The challenge for these Cultists is that the Dragon's attacks are cleaving everyone. Apparently, even if they're standing directly behind it, the Lightning Breath just always hits you. Within a few turns, the Baalists had dropped the Dragon to half life, but the Lightning Breath and cleave attacks were taking their toll. Orin, Sarevok, and the Death Knight survived as long as they could, but they were unable to avoid the devastating ground-pounding Ansur was putting out. This full melee Baalist team lost in a rather pathetic showing, and Ansur moves on to face the mostly ranged team, the Illithids. We'll begin round 2 with the Beast Menagerie taking on Hell. Turn 1 for the Beasts is largely just posturing and moving around the arena to surround Hell's soldiers. The Hellboars rushing into the pack dealt massive area damage, killing several of the 1 HP beasts, and I expected Jurger would Thunderwave a large area, but instead just knifed a single beast. The battlefield here quickly grew hectic, and the wolves failed to find the invisible demon. Most of Hell's soldiers had already been surrounded by turn 2, and it was beginning to feel really one-sided. Jurger stepped up in a big way though, with a gigantic Thunderwave to give his team a bit of hope. It was still about 30 versus 7 when one of the dinosaurs found Jurger in hiding. However, they would fail to capitalize on this, instead losing their Spider Queen when she was forced out of the arena to her death. Members of Hell were quickly dropping. The Campion was even shoved out to join the Queen, but Jurger immediately responded by knocking the Bullete and 2 others out of the arena. Roughly 20 versus 2, this looked about over, but because of invisibility you can't count Hell out yet. Jurger continued to play like a cheesy bastard, and his last Maragon ally was gored to death. When an eagle revealed Jurger, the beast swarmed in to whip their foe, and all he could do was pray his next invisibility would not fail. This time, he succeeded, took multiple opportunity attacks to move into position, and Thunderwaved 3 more beasts out of the arena, but for no explainable reason, chose not to go invisible. Somehow he managed to dodge every hit in that round though, only to have his invisibility broken again soon after. 1 versus 3, Jurger was bringing it back. Victory was within his grasp, but instead of securing the W, he took a big gamble, littering the arena with explosives. He stabbed the knoll with his infernal blade, but would not survive the whips of these displacer beasts. The Hail Mary bomb play he did managed to kill 1 cat, but the other stood victorious, bringing the beasts into the grand finals. Our next semifinals matchup has the Illithids taking on Ansur. An immediate stun on the dragon skipped its first turn, followed by a second successful stun. Perhaps these stun-locking Illithids had the strategy necessary to take down one big OP dragon. But then Orpheus moved into the perfect spot to cleave both of his allies via lightning breath. Still all 8 members alive, the dragon was down 100 HP. Finally Ansur got his first turn though, cleaved down several brains, and we begin to dish out the pain. The Emperor's next stun failed to land, and these members were dropping like flies. And under 400 HP, the dragon continued to take hits. An unfortunate reaction slew both Orpheus and a Mind Flayer together, so still over half health, Ansur was looking unbeatable. Further stuns could only delay the inevitable, and Ansur proved even a ranged team was no challenge for this dragon. Our grand finals between the Beast Menagerie and the Dragon Ansur takes place on a floating block of ice in the middle of the ocean. To give the beasts a better chance, I'd spread out all 50 of their members in a circle around the dragon. A brave wolf started things off by baiting the breath, sacrificing 4 animals for the greater good. The dinosaurs this time opted to use corrosive spit to drop the dragon's AC, and Ansur's first turn would drop another 10 beasts. The Bullete this time chose to be more aggressive, using Bite to further reduce Ansur's AC, and even leapt away to avoid being hit by the next lightning breath, which is actually a lot smarter than I thought any of these creatures would be. The next reaction too hit a large group of animals, but the beasts still had most of their heavy hitters. Bites, whips, and fangs dropped the dragon below half health, and somehow the beasts knew that spreading out was their only chance. But this dragon is just crazy. Ansur's Greater Worm Scales passive blocked the first 4 damage of every hit, and likely was the reason it stayed alive, as in the end only 418 damage was dealt by these beasts. This dragon displayed complete dominance throughout the tournament, finishing off the last of the beasts to become the undisputed champion of the AI Battle Arena. And in my opinion, Answer has proven himself to be the strongest individual creature in all of Baldur's Gate 3. But how do you feel about that title? And did any of these results surprise you? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for checking out my videos, and special thanks to all of my channel members for their additional support. Until next time, Proxy out.